So, welcome to this interview, Niamh. It's very kind of you to join us. I'm Laura, I'm the CEO at Vet Sustain, and we've invited you in just to share a little bit about your connection to Vet Sustain and the journey that you've been on with us over the last year or so. Um, do you want to just give a little introduction to your background and whereabouts in the world you are?
Thank you very much, Laura, and thanks for having me here. I always really appreciate it. So I guess I'm Niamh. I'm a small animal veterinarian, qualified in 2018 from the University of Dublin, and since then have worked in a variety of jobs. At the moment, I'm based in the Republic of Ireland, in a little town called Cashel in Tipperary. I'm not sure if any of your listeners will know it, but it is worth a visit. It's beautiful.
Is that a picture of it on the wall behind you?
It is. That's my partner's farm. That's his farm. I think that was Christmas morning, quite a while ago. And yeah, that's the
Beautiful.
sun rising some morning, so it's very beautiful around here. So yeah, I'm a small animal vet, and I guess I'm the chairperson and the founder of the Veterinary Sustainability Network in Ireland as well. So yeah.
That's fantastic. And so we got in touch last week because we were talking a little bit more about carbon literacy because you have set up
Mm.
Ireland's first sustainability network, which is incredibly exciting. Do you want to talk a little bit about the origin story of how you got to that point? Because there's a few steps before that uh, to get you there.
Of course, absolutely. And so I guess my origin story for the Veterinary Sustainability Network, it started probably just maybe just a little bit over a year ago. So I was based in the UK and I was working as a small animal clinician in a busy hospital down in the south of England. And I just felt, I guess, a little bit disconnected and overwhelmed, I suppose, like a lot of us are at the moment, overwhelmed by the sheer volume of media, I suppose, kind of information on social media coming in about climate change and biodiversity loss, but also just feeling completely helpless and useless in the face of this. And I suppose it's the whole governmental policy thing, and that's all you hear really. And it's frightening. It's really frightening. And
Mm.
I just tried to reconnect a little bit with that side of the veterinary profession with the kind of One Health and sustainability kind of side. And initially, I tried getting into some wildlife veterinary, but then from there, from finding out about Vet Sustain and finding your website and whatnot, on a whim, I signed up for the carbon literacy course. The carbon literacy course was took place over four evenings. It wasn't terribly long in terms of like it wasn't a huge time commitment every week, but it really, really inspired me. It really inspired me and made me just feel so much, I suppose, more hopeful about what I could do as an individual and what we could do as a community. Um,
And can for those people that haven't actually done carbon literacy before, they might be wondering, what is it? What do we mean by it? So, do you want to give a flavour of some of the aspects that you covered on the 8 hour course?
of course. So I guess in terms of carbon literacy is it's a worldwide not-for-profit organization, and it's within many, many sectors. The course that you guys run with Jen Gale fronting it is veterinary specific. And you initially start off by learning about climate change and carbon footprints, and then how this is impacting the world and how it potentially or most likely will impact us as vets as well.
Hmm.
So this section is dense, but it's really interesting. And it also just gives you a flavor of exactly what's going on and a little bit more knowledge and a little bit more confidence when speaking about it to colleagues, friends, clients, etc.
I was
And
going to say
from
that's quite big topics that you're picking out there. Just understanding the full magnitude of that could feel quite intimidating or overwhelming for people. And I've been on Jen's course. Jen's a wonderful facilitator. So, how did it actually feel to go through that process?
Yeah, so I guess initially I was probably a little bit wary about it, about learning about this, because I was just worried if I learn more, is too much information actually going to make me feel worse about it? Is this mountain that we need to climb, is it just going to feel I'll never get to the top of it?
Yes.
However, on the introduction to this course, Jen herself is wonderful. She's really warm, really cheerful, very hopeful, inspiring individual. So she's like the perfect facilitator for it. And she opens it up to be, as you said, a very safe space. and you don't feel like you're ever going to be completely overwhelmed by the topic she's talking about. She also does allow for like little bits of time to say, look, this topic is tricky. It is,
Breathe. Yeah.
it's difficult. It's okay. And just maybe we just sit with this for a few moments as well. And then
Mm,
afterwards to make sure that you actually give yourself the space to process everything that it's going, because there is a lot of emotions in it when
mm.
you're learning through it. But to be perfectly honest, it never felt like it was too much for me to take on. It really just felt like I was actually learning what I needed to learn to understand it, but not too much either. So no, I do really think it was quite a wonderful introduction to it.
And certainly as an entry point into sustainability, which is, a big meaty topic. It covers
Mm.
every sector and every scale of society. So it could feel really huge. I think there's something around how we make it more bite-sized and digestible and step by step. So I'd be really interested to know how you moved from however you were feeling before, because you mentioned you were feeling quite overwhelmed and you weren't
Hmm.
sure which way to turn. How how did the course give you a sense of empowerment or confidence, or because you've obviously moved on to set up an amazing network? What was that transition? How did that unfold?
So I guess it lit a bit of a fire inside me in terms of the actual sustainability movement itself. And I really, really was intrigued by it. But the course just, it gave me, I suppose, number one, the knowledge that I needed to open these topics up confidently. I,
Mm,
I, I wasn't scared by them anymore. I wasn't scared to say, oh, actually, let's have a discussion about this rather than just hearing somebody giving out about sustainability and then just not engaging at all.
mm,
However, it also gave me the realization that it's a huge, huge topic, but we don't need to know everything about it. We don't need a master's in it to actually engage on it because sustainability involves everybody.
mm.
So it's very, I suppose you can't exclude everybody based on just they don't have a degree in it.
Yes.
It just led me to realize, no, you can talk about this. You're allowed to talk about this. This involves you. This is important to you. So absolutely talk about it and learn the whole time. Be open to other people's suggestions, be open to kind of learning different ideas, aspects, viewpoints, but also just don't be afraid to talk about it.
And the steps that then came as a result of that course, so what was your stepping
Mm.
stone into what you did next?
So I guess I felt really, really, really inspired by it, really empowered by it. But I also felt that I wanted to learn more, just wanted to learn so much more. So then Vet Sustain set up their modular course, A Sustainable Approach to Clinical Veterinary Practice. And when this came around, I was like, oh, it sounds perfect. I want to do this. I want to learn more. I do love learning. I'm really, really passionate about learning. And when there's a topic, I will eat up that topic. I'm to my heart's content. So I was so delighted with this course, and especially because it's modular, it's online, it's very flexible. So I just jumped straight into that course. And when I was doing this course, I kind of I was in the process of moving back to Ireland
Mm.
when it started. And I just reached out to a couple of people and a couple of organizations in Ireland, like the Veterinary Council and whatnot, and just asked how I could get involved in the veterinary sustainability field in Ireland because I was so filled with passion. I was like, I need to do something. And there was nothing going on. And I guess that's how I got to setting up the Veterinary Sustainability Network was just because I started with the carbon literacy, then just that passion grew. And then just when I went back to Ireland, there was nothing there. So I was like, well, that's it. I better
I mean,
set up something.
that's an incredible roller coaster from feeling overwhelmed, not sure what to do, starting a journey to taking on board something that could again feel quite big and overwhelming. So talk to me about community and network, because one of the things we've just done our impact assessment, which was independently done by Human Behaviour Change for Life. It was amazing that we're just about to publish. And one of the things that it said in there in terms of people feeling having that agency is they need to feel that there's a community of support, that there is a definite entry place to find education, to turn whatever they're feeling, overwhelm, stress, anxiety, into action and agency to do something with the knowledge that they're gaining. And I just wondered how that community and network plays out, both on the carbon literacy course and then going into the longer course, because carbon literacy is 8 hours, and then you're talking 35 hours on the longer course. How has the community been supportive and helpful to you in setting up your amazing new network?
Yeah, I guess when I was talking about the carbon literacy course and how I felt overwhelmed beforehand, I guess intermittently I still feel sometimes overwhelmed or kind of quite anxious about climate change and everything.
Mm.
However, the difference is now that as on the carbon literacy course, there is that community there to actually look back on and say, look, you're not alone in this. There is other people kind of working towards this. And we all know that change starts small, but it starts with a group of people, and that group of people then inspire other people, and it grows and grows until finally we see systemic change. So I guess that is the power of community. And with the modular course, there is a nice little crew of us on it, and we meet up every so often on our Zoom calls. And it's when it's an online course, it could be easy to get maybe feel disconnected or isolated. However,
Yes.
those calls really focus in on just making sure that we all know that yes, we are going through this, and there are different struggles in trying to balance doing the course and balance our community or our sustainability actions and balancing our day jobs as vets,
Mm.
and that everybody is struggling, but it's okay because if we all keep plugging away, if it's 60% one day, 40% another day, 100% another day, it is going to make a difference.
Mm.
And I guess the other thing, when I was setting up the network and over the past kind of, I think, what are we, about 9 months since I even thought about setting it up. It was wonderful having Vet Sustain there to have as a backup, I suppose, backup network. I have the little network in Ireland, but to
Yes.
have you guys to kind of, if I ever have any issues with kind of the what's the best approach to create change or how do we inspire people and whatnot, it's really nice to be able to go back to you guys and say, look, this is what we've done so far. Do you have any ideas? Is there any advice you have for me? So I really think like I don't think it would have progressed as easily or as quickly as it did without that core network beneath us. Because as we said, like you really need a strong network in this kind of field, don't you? Like sustainable, it's tough. It is tough.
I think
So
we all need to feel that we have a community, that there are hundreds, thousands, millions of people who are on the journey alongside us. And certainly in my sort of previous jobs where I'm looking cross sector, you tune into the best practice stories and you get a sense in which industries, you've got that critical 25% of people who are really driving for change, and you get that social tipping point where all of a sudden people
exactly.
realize that actually a lot of people are also on the journey, and you can compare notes and also talk about the things that you're struggling with that aren't perfect.
Mm.
I don't think we need perfection all the time. We want to be as the best we can be, but we're not looking for, one perfect person, one perfect vet. We're looking for millions of imperfect veterinary
Yeah,
professionals just giving it a go and getting stuck in and cracking on. And one of the things that we were talking about carbon literacy, so I know we're going to be looking to see if we can develop something with Jen and you. To launch in Ireland, which is super exciting. And we're also thinking about developing a sort of bite-sized, much shorter, snappier introduction in a couple of hours, just to help people dip their toe in the water and find out more about what carbon literacy means, what understanding their environmental impact means, and a little springboard into what their options are. And tapping into that wellness piece, because there's something around, having moved relatively recently into the vet sector, just recognizing the huge weight of responsibility that vets are shouldering because they intersect so naturally in. And I know, you've spoken about it, but most of the vets that I've met so far have said they came into veterinary because they love nature, they love other animals, they do care about people and planet. So having a sort of outlet and a safe place to be able to process some of the magnitude of what people are processing and facing in their daily reality, I think is a really healthy thing. So I think there's probably something around well-being and health and wellness that comes out of being part of these courses, hopefully.
exactly. And I think isn't that at the core of sustainability as well? It is one of the aspects is the kind of people aspect, I suppose. So
Mm.
employee and employer well-being, client well-being, etc. And I really like I personally can say that like working with sustainability has given me a greater sense of fulfillment, and I have been a lot happier in my day-to-day veterinary job than I was previously. Just it can seem a little bit like a numbers game at some stage, I suppose, in veterinary, and it can seem nearly a market-driven profession at times, which none
Mm.
of us ever, most of us, and maybe I won't say none, but most of us didn't go in for that kind of reason. And just reconnecting with the sustainability values, I suppose, has really made me actually re-engage and reconnect with the reasons I went in. So yeah.
Well, I'm so grateful for you coming in to talk a bit about your experience about finding that connection again, finding a community to resource you, and the confidence that you got from interacting with us. It's such a joy to hear. If people want to find out more about what you're doing, where can we signpost people to?
So you can find us on social media on Instagram and LinkedIn. Now it is run by myself and one of my friends, Shauna. So we're full time, or we are working as vets full time.
Yeah.
So it isn't the biggest social media challenge yet, but it's veterinary VSN Ireland at and our yeah, VSN Ireland, apologies. And that's on LinkedIn and Instagram. And then for anyone who wants to join, if in Ireland or wants to even just hear a little bit more about us, we have our email vsnireland@gmail.com. We are hopefully going to set up a website over the next couple of months and get some resources up there and whatnot. But again, we are still quite a baby organization, so that's in planning at the moment.
Okay, fab. So tell anyone, all your friends in veterinary with connections to Ireland that it's all going down and to get in touch with you, Niamh. It's been really, really lovely to hear your story. Thank you so much for sharing a bit about it. I think it makes the world of difference to actually hear from someone who's actually been through the course, rather than to, have me saying, it's brilliant, you're gonna love it. To
Yeah,
who's actually recently done it and has benefited from it. It's brilliant.
genuine.
Yeah.
Yes. And thank you for having me on, and thanks for your ongoing support and everything. It really has been a joy to be a part of Vet Sustain.
Oh, thank you, Neva. I really appreciate your time. Thank you for today, and yeah, we'll keep talking and be in touch soon.
Thank you very much, Laura.